Today's founder is Thomas Burke, a governor of North Carolina. Now, before he was governor of North Carolina, Thomas Burke was an Irish immigrant who, before even turning 20 years old, came to the future United States and began acting as a physician. He didn't have a medical degree, he just said he was a doctor, and people believed him. You could do that back then. So Burke does this for a while. He's living in Virginia, and then when the Stamp Act gets passed, he gets a little agitated about it, and he takes up his pen and he writes several articles in protest of the Stamp Act. At the same time, he really starts to like not only politics, but the law, and he studies and passes the bar and becomes a lawyer. So he's a doctor and a lawyer. And it's about this time in 1774 that Thomas Burke moves over to North Carolina, where he really wants to start his life. Now, he's in North Carolina only about a year and a half by the time he's elected to the Provincial Congress, essentially the Revolutionary Assembly. A year after that, the same assembly sends him to the Continental Congress. So he's now representing North Carolina in its own government, and now in Philadelphia, though he has barely spent any time in North Carolina. He's there for about 4 years in the Continental Congress, during which time he's elected the third governor of North Carolina. Again, having spent very little time of his life in North Carolina, though I do want to pause, because before he was elected governor, the Continental Congress was famously chased out of Philadelphia by the British Army, and most of the delegates of the Continental Congress ran out of town. Thomas Burke, however, knew that the North Carolina militia was there and ready to attempt to halt the British from entering Philadelphia. And he actually went and served with the militia when the British were attacking. So he is the one Continental Congressman who stood up and fought for Philadelphia. Now that didn't go well. They lost Philadelphia almost immediately. And Thomas Burke does then retreat and join the rest of the delegates in York, Pennsylvania. Now, as I said, he does eventually get elected governor, and he returns to North Carolina really for the first extended period of his life as governor of North Carolina. Burke's in North Carolina, and he's captured. The British raid the capital of Hillsborough, and during that time, Burke is actually the governor, is captured by the British, and he's taken to South Carolina. And on his way to South Carolina, a brigadier general named John Butler attempts to save him, and a battle breaks out called the Battle of Lindley's Mill. Now, General Butler ambushes the British, though it doesn't work. Yet again, he's involved with an attack that doesn't work, and he is whisked away, as they say, to an island off the coast of South Carolina, where he is kept for quite some time, but he's paroled on the island. He's allowed to walk about freely. He is unmolested. He's treated middlingly by the British. Again, he's allowed to walk about the island, but his nourishment isn't the best. He's not given the best living conditions, and eventually he escapes from the island and returns to North Carolina. Now, when he returns to North Carolina, Thomas Burke, he does write a letter to the British saying, "I still consider myself on parole. I am still a prisoner. Please exchange me." But then he takes up his seat as governor again. And this is a real problem, because back then, these were men of honor, and if you said, "I'm still on parole," you were supposed to act as if you were on parole and not resume any official duties that you would otherwise have been prohibited from while in custody. So the British don't love this, but fortunately, he is not taken again. Thomas Burke remains free for the rest of the war, but sadly, just as the Revolutionary War is coming to an end, Burke, who at this point is only 35 years old, he's younger than I am, it makes me sad, he's only 35 years old, and the treatment he had in captivity, not just on the island, but actually while being escorted to the island, had taken such an extreme adverse toll on his health that Thomas Burke passes away, again, at just 35 years old, having been a physician, a lawyer, a governor, and a revolutionary. And that is an extremely brief overview of the life of Governor Thomas Burke. I hope you enjoyed it. Definitely hit like on your way out, and make sure you subscribe for American Revolution 5 days a week.